Have you ever felt stuck in your daily routine, wishing for change but not knowing where to start? Or perhaps you found yourself wondering, why does it feel like something is missing in my life? If you've had these thoughts, you're not alone. Many people face this struggle at some point. But what if the key to transformation was already within you, waiting to be unlocked? Imagine if you could begin the journey to your best self right now, just before 2024 ends. Here's a simple example. Think of a garden that's been neglected for months. It's full of weeds, overgrown, and disordered. But with a little care and attention, it can be transformed into a beautiful, flourishing space. Your mind and spirit are no different. Just like that garden, they too can be nurtured and renewed, starting today. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a place where you'll discover the power within you to transform your life before the year ends. This channel is all about providing you with insights and guidance to help you awaken your inner potential and create lasting change. Before we dive deeper into how you can transform yourself, I'd like to encourage you to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, share this video with others, and don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom Woven for more amazing insights. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content to inspire and guide you on your journey to transformation. Now, let's talk about the first step in your transformation journey. The most important change happens when you start by turning inward. You see, true transformation doesn't happen overnight, and it's not something that can be forced. It's about awakening to the present moment and realizing that the only real power you have is right here, right now. When you begin to see yourself and your life from this perspective, everything starts to shift. By the end of this video, you'll understand how a small shift in mindset can lead to an incredible transformation before 2024 ends. Embracing the present moment. Have you ever thought about how often your mind is not where you are? It's easy to get caught up in the past, replaying old memories or mistakes, or to get lost in thoughts of the future, wondering what might happen. But what about now? What about this very moment? The truth is, most of us spend so much of our time anywhere but here and now. And yet, it's in this present moment that real change can begin. The Buddhist teachings tell us that life is always happening in the present. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. What we have is this very moment. This understanding of the present moment is the foundation of mindfulness, a powerful practice that can help us transform ourselves, no matter what time of year it is. When we talk about mindfulness, we're talking about paying attention, really paying attention, not just going through the motions of life, but fully experiencing it. Every breath, every step, every sound. If we are aware of what is happening right now, we can notice the small things that make life beautiful, the little moments that can go unnoticed when we are distracted, the sound of the wind in the trees, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the feeling of a deep breath filling your lungs. These are the moments that bring us peace when we stop to notice them. But it's not just about noticing the good things. Mindfulness also helps us face the difficult moments in life. When we experience pain, stress, or frustration, we often try to escape or avoid those feelings. We push them away, thinking we don't want to deal with them. But mindfulness teaches us that even in these moments, there's something to learn. It's about accepting them as they are, without judgment. When we do this, we stop feeding the negativity that can grow in our minds. Imagine if, instead of running away from difficult feelings, you allowed them to be. What if, instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you simply observe those feelings and let them pass? This is the power of mindfulness, being able to sit with whatever comes, whether good or bad, and not let it control us. When you begin to practice being present, you will notice that your mind becomes calmer. The constant chatter of thoughts begins to quiet down, and you're left with a sense of peace and clarity. This peace doesn't depend on your circumstances. It doesn't matter if things are going well or badly in your life. The ability to be present gives you a sense of freedom, no matter what's happening around you. One of the most common reasons people feel stuck or overwhelmed is because they are not present. They are either living in the past, filled with regret or guilt, or they are worrying about the future. But when you shift your focus to the present, you realize that you have the power to change your experience right now, right here. There's no need to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is always now. It's important to remember that mindfulness is not about perfection. It's not about clearing your mind or trying to escape your emotions. It's about being with whatever is here, accepting it, and letting go of judgment. In Buddhist practice, this is often referred to as right mindfulness, which is the ability to be fully aware of the present moment without attachment or aversion. You can begin practicing mindfulness by simply taking a moment to stop and notice what's around you. Take a few deep breaths. Feel the ground beneath you. Notice the sounds, the smells, the sights. When your mind begins to wander, gently bring it back to the present moment. Don't be hard on yourself. Mindfulness is a practice, not something you achieve overnight. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay present in your everyday life. Mindfulness also helps us develop a deeper sense of compassion. When we are present, we can truly listen to others. We can understand their feelings and respond from a place of care, not judgment. This is a powerful way to build better relationships and connect with others on a deeper level. When we take the time to be present, we are not only transforming ourselves, but we are also transforming our interactions with the world around us. One way to bring mindfulness into your daily life is through simple actions. Instead of rushing through your day, take a moment to pause and be present in whatever you're doing. Whether it's eating, walking, or washing dishes, try to do it with full awareness. Focus on the sensation of the food in your mouth, the feeling of your feet hitting the ground, or the warmth of the water on your hands. These small moments can be a source of great peace and joy if we give them our full attention. Being present also means letting go of distractions. We live in a world filled with constant notifications, emails, and social media updates. These distractions pull us away from the present moment and keep our minds busy. But when we take a step back and choose to be present, we are choosing to be in control of our experience. We're choosing to focus on what truly matters: our thoughts, our feelings, and our connections with others. One of the simplest ways to begin embracing the present moment is through meditation. Meditation helps train the mind to focus and to let go of distractions. It's not about clearing your mind completely, but about becoming aware of your thoughts without being attached to them. When you meditate, you observe your thoughts as they come and go, without judging them or getting caught up in them. Over time, this practice helps you develop a deeper awareness of the present moment in all areas of your life. You might be wondering, how can this practice really help me change before 2024 ends? The answer is simple. When you are present, you are aware of your choices. You are not reacting automatically to old habits or patterns. You are able to respond with mindfulness, with clarity, and with intention. This is how transformation begins. Instead of living on autopilot, you begin to live with awareness. You become the creator of your life, not the victim of your circumstances. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises when we are attached to things, whether it's to our past, our desires, or our expectations of the future. By practicing mindfulness, we can begin to let go of these attachments. We stop chasing after things that we think will bring us happiness, and instead, we find peace right here, right now. The more we practice being present, the less we need to chase after external sources of happiness. We find it in the simple moments of life. So, how can you start embracing the present moment? Start by taking small steps. When you wake up in the morning, take a few minutes to simply breathe and center yourself. When you eat, try to eat mindfully, focusing on the taste, texture, and smell of your food. Throughout your day, practice noticing when your mind drifts away from the present and gently bring it back. These small practices will gradually help you build a more mindful life. As you continue to practice mindfulness, you will notice that your perception of the world begins to shift. You'll see beauty in the simplest things, and you'll begin to feel more connected to yourself and others. You'll also start to notice that you're less affected by external events. Instead of reacting to everything around you, you'll learn to respond with calmness and clarity. In the end, embracing the present moment is the key to true transformation. It's not about waiting for the right time or the right circumstances. It's about realizing that the only moment you can control is now, and in that moment, you have the power to create change. Whether you're seeking inner peace, greater happiness, or a deeper connection with others, mindfulness is the tool that will help you get there. It's simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. By living in the present moment, You can transform your life before 2024 ends and beyond. The path of compassion. In the hustle of our everyday lives, it's easy to forget the most fundamental quality that can transform us: compassion. We hear about it often, whether in the teachings of great leaders, in stories of kindness, or from the scriptures. But how often do we truly practice it? Compassion is more than just a feeling. It's an active choice, a commitment to understand and alleviate the suffering of others, and in doing so, to heal ourselves. Imagine walking through a crowded street, surrounded by people rushing to and fro. Each person you pass has their own struggles, their own dreams, their own pain. Now, instead of looking at them as mere strangers, imagine seeing them as fellow beings who share in the same human experience. What if, for a moment, you could feel what they feel? What if you could connect with their heart, not just their outward appearance or actions? That is the essence of compassion. In Buddhism, compassion is known as karuna, a deep awareness of the suffering of others, accompanied by a strong desire to relieve it. It is one of the key virtues that, when cultivated, can lead to a peaceful and fulfilling life. But it's not always easy, is it? It's easy to get caught up in our own world and forget about those around us. It's easy to be busy with our own tasks, struggles, and worries. Yet, compassion has the power to shift our perspective in profound ways. When we act with compassion, we don't just help others, we help ourselves. It's a simple truth: the more we give, the more we receive. By offering kindness, understanding, and support to others, we create a ripple effect. That positive energy comes back to us, not necessarily in the form of material things, but in the form of inner peace and joy. Have you ever felt lighter after helping someone in need? That's the power of compassion at work. The Buddha taught that compassion is not just for the people we know, but for all beings. In fact, true compassion includes not only humans, but all living creatures, even those we might not typically think about: animals, plants, and even the earth itself. When we act with kindness toward the world around us, we honor the interconnectedness of all life. Compassion, in this sense, becomes a way of living, not just an action we take when it's convenient, but a way of being in the world. Now, you might be wondering, how can I start practicing compassion in my own life? It begins with small, simple actions. One of the first steps is to really listen. Often, when people talk, we are quick to offer advice or solve their problems. But true compassion involves listening deeply, without judgment or interruption. It's about allowing others to be seen and heard for who they truly are, not just for what they can do for us or how they make us feel. Take a moment to think about the people around you. Is there someone who could use a kind word or a listening ear? Perhaps a friend who is going through a tough time, or a colleague who seems overwhelmed. Compassion is as simple as offering your presence, your time, and your attention. These small acts can have a ripple effect, transforming not just the lives of others, but your own as well. But compassion also means being kind to yourself. Often, we are our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for our mistakes, our shortcomings, and the things we wish we could have done differently. Yet, compassion asks us to see ourselves through a kinder lens, to forgive ourselves, and to offer ourselves the same kindness that we would extend to others. It's not about excusing harmful behavior, but rather about acknowledging our imperfections with love and understanding. Buddhism teaches that by practicing compassion toward others and ourselves, we begin to dissolve the barriers of separation and ego that keep us feeling isolated. The truth is, we are all connected. Every action, every word, every thought has an impact, not only on ourselves, but on the world around us. When we act from a place of compassion, we create harmony within ourselves, and that harmony radiates outward. But there's more to compassion than just acting kindly toward others. True compassion also involves being present for someone else's suffering without rushing to fix it or make it go away. It's easy to want to solve problems, especially when we see someone in pain. But sometimes, the greatest act of compassion is simply being with them in that moment of struggle, to sit with them in silence, to hold space for their pain, and to let them know that they are not alone. This is a radical shift in perspective. Often, we are taught to avoid suffering, to fix problems, and to move away from discomfort. But Buddhism teaches us that suffering is part of the human experience, and that by embracing it with compassion, we can find healing. We are not separate from others' pain. We are part of it. And when we accept that, we can respond with a deeper level of understanding and love. The path of compassion also requires patience. It's easy to be kind to those who are easy to love, but true compassion means extending kindness to those who challenge us. It's the person who cuts us off in traffic, the colleague who annoys us, or the family member who always seems to stir up tension. These are the moments where our compassion is tested, and yet, these are also the moments that offer the greatest opportunities for growth. When we can approach these difficult situations with compassion, we begin to see them differently, not as obstacles, but as opportunities for transformation. As you walk this path, remember that compassion is not a destination. It's a journey. It's something that grows and deepens over time. It's about making a commitment to open your heart to the suffering of others, and in doing so, transforming your own heart. This path isn't always easy, and it won't always be comfortable, but it is the path that leads to a more peaceful, joyful, and meaningful life. As we come to the end of this part, I invite you to reflect on how compassion can transform your life. How can you be more compassionate toward others? How can you show yourself the same kindness that you offer to the world? And remember, compassion doesn't need to be grand or dramatic. It's in the small, everyday actions, offering a smile, listening without judgment, being present with someone in their pain. These are the moments that make all the difference. By embracing the path of compassion, you're not just changing the lives of others, you're changing your own life too. So, take a deep breath and let the power of compassion guide you on your journey toward transformation. Detachment from desires. Life often feels like a constant chase. We're always running after something: a new job, a new car, a new house, the next best thing. It's as though there's an invisible checklist we're always trying to complete, with each new desire demanding more of our time, energy, and focus. But what if the true path to transformation isn't found in getting more, but in letting go? Desires, in the Buddhist sense, are the root of suffering. We don't often realize how deeply they control our lives. They pull us in many directions, making us think that happiness lies in something outside of ourselves. But in reality, the more we chase, the more elusive happiness becomes. This is where the concept of detachment comes into play. Detachment doesn't mean rejecting or abandoning the world or our dreams. It means letting go of the tight grip we have on them. It's the understanding that we don't need to cling to anything or anyone in order to find peace. When we're attached to desires, we're constantly in a state of longing. We think, if I just get this, I'll be happy. But when we reach that thing, the happiness is fleeting, and we begin to long for the next thing. The cycle never ends. So, how do we break free from this cycle of desire? It starts with understanding that desires are impermanent. Just like everything else in life, they come and go. They rise up in the mind, but they don't define us. When we learn to observe our desires without identifying with them, we begin to see them for what they really are. Just passing thoughts, not things that must control us. Imagine this. You're sitting by a river. The water flows gently, and you notice a leaf floating by. At first, you may feel the urge to reach out and grab it. But what if, instead of grabbing it, you simply let it pass by? You let it go without attachment, without the need to control it. This is what detachment feels like. It's not about rejecting the leaf or the river. It's about allowing life to flow without interference. In the same way, you can begin to let go of the things you cling to in life. The desire for approval, for success, for material things. These are like leaves in the river of your mind. Instead of chasing them, allow them to float by. When you let go of the need to control your desires, you'll discover a deep sense of peace and contentment that doesn't rely on external things. But detachment isn't easy. It's a practice, one that requires patience and self-awareness. The first step is becoming aware of the ways in which you're attached to your desires. Take a moment to reflect. What are the things you feel you can't live without? What are the things you constantly chase after, thinking that they will bring you happiness? It might be your career, your appearance, your relationships, or even your reputation. The key is not to judge yourself for these desires, but to simply observe them. Once you've identified the things you're attached to, it's time to practice letting go. Start small. If you find yourself craving something, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, Do I truly need this in order to be happy? Often, the answer is no. Happiness isn't found in external things. It's found in the peace you cultivate within yourself. Every time you let go of a desire, you're making space for something deeper and more meaningful. Another powerful practice is mindfulness. When you're present in the moment, you begin to see the transient nature of your thoughts and desires. You can watch them rise and fall without getting caught up in them. Imagine yourself as a calm observer, sitting quietly by the river, watching the leaves float by without reacting to them. This is the power of mindfulness. It allows you to experience life without getting lost in it. It's important to note that detachment isn't about withdrawing from life or becoming apathetic. It's about engaging with life fully, without being controlled by your desires. When you detach from the need to possess or control things, you free yourself to experience life in a more open, authentic way. You can still pursue your dreams, work towards your goals, and enjoy the things you love, but you do so without the desperate need for them to define your happiness. One of the most powerful aspects of detachment is the freedom it brings. When you stop chasing after things that you think will bring you happiness, you become free to experience joy in the present moment. You no longer have to wait for the future to find peace or fulfillment. You can enjoy life as it is, right here and now, and that is where true transformation begins. Remember, detachment is not about renouncing the world. It's about recognizing that your happiness is not dependent on anything outside of you. It's about releasing the grip that desires have over you and allowing yourself to be at peace with what is. As you practice detachment, you'll find that your inner world becomes more peaceful and content, no matter what is happening around you. In Buddhism, the idea of non-attachment is central to the path of liberation. By letting go of the need to possess, control, or cling to things, we free ourselves from suffering. This doesn't mean that we stop caring or living fully. It simply means that we stop depending on external things for our happiness. We begin to recognize that true peace comes from within. So, how can you start practicing detachment today? Begin by observing your desires without judgment. Notice when you feel the pull of craving and pause for a moment. Ask yourself, can I let go of this for a moment? By practicing this simple awareness, you'll start to free yourself from the constant cycle of desire and experience a deeper sense of peace and contentment. Detachment is not about denying life, but about embracing it fully without the need to control or possess. It's about understanding that true happiness comes from the inside, not from the things you acquire. As you begin to practice detachment, you'll discover a new level of freedom, one that allows you to live more fully, with less stress, and with more joy. Mindfulness in daily life. In life, we often race through our days, rushing from one task to the next, constantly thinking about what's next. But what if you could slow down just enough to fully experience each moment? What if you could live with more awareness, not just in moments of meditation, but in every part of your day? This is what mindfulness teaches us. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment, fully aware of what's happening right now, without distractions or judgment. It's a simple concept, yet it's something most of us forget to practice. We get lost in thoughts about the past, the future, or what others think of us. We forget to focus on what's actually happening in the present. But when you practice mindfulness, you begin to notice life as it truly is, not as you imagine it to be. Consider this simple example. Imagine you are drinking a cup of tea. Most people, when drinking tea, do it without even thinking. They might sip it while scrolling through their phone, or chatting with someone, or thinking about their to-do list. But when you drink tea mindfully, you focus entirely on the experience. You feel the warmth of the cup in your hands, you notice the steam rising from the tea, and you taste each sip as if it's the first time. This practice doesn't just make the tea taste better. It transforms the entire experience, allowing you to truly appreciate the moment. Mindfulness can be practiced in any situation, not just in moments of peace and quiet. The beauty of mindfulness is that it can be woven into the fabric of your daily life. Whether you're cooking, working, walking, or even talking with a friend, each moment can be lived with awareness. It might seem difficult at first, especially in the chaos of daily life, but with time and practice, mindfulness becomes a natural part of your routine. In Buddhism, mindfulness is one of the core teachings that leads to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. It's not about eliminating distractions entirely or avoiding unpleasant feelings. It's about acknowledging what is happening in the present moment, accepting it without judgment, and allowing it to be just as it is. When you do this, you begin to free yourself from the grip of your thoughts and emotions. You no longer get swept away by worries about the future or regrets about the past. Instead, you learn to simply be with whatever arises, without attachment or aversion. One of the reasons mindfulness is so powerful is that it helps you connect with the world in a more profound way. When you practice mindfulness, you start to notice the small things, the sound of the wind, the smell of the flowers, the feel of the earth beneath your feet. These small moments, which often go unnoticed in our busy lives, become sources of joy and peace. When you become aware of these little moments, you begin to see that happiness isn't something that you need to chase or find. It's already here, in the present, in the simple things. Mindfulness also teaches us to be kind to ourselves. We often criticize ourselves for not being perfect or for making mistakes. We might get angry with ourselves when we fail, or beat ourselves up for not doing things the right way. But mindfulness encourages us to approach ourselves with compassion. Instead of judging our thoughts or actions, we learn to observe them with kindness and understanding. This shift in perspective can help reduce stress and anxiety, allowing us to handle life's challenges with more ease. As you practice mindfulness, you may start to notice changes in how you relate to others as well. When you are fully present with someone, truly listening and not distracted by your own thoughts or phone, it creates a deeper connection. You begin to see others for who they truly are, without the filters of judgment or assumption. This openness and acceptance can lead to stronger, more meaningful relationships because you are no longer reacting based on your past experiences or expectations. You are simply meeting others as they are, in the present moment. One of the greatest benefits of mindfulness is that it helps us deal with difficult emotions. Life isn't always easy, and we all face challenges that can cause stress, fear, anger, or sadness. But when we practice mindfulness, we can approach these emotions in a more balanced way. Instead of pushing them away or getting lost in them, we learn to simply observe them. We recognize that emotions are just temporary states. They come and go. We don't need to let them define us or control our actions. This shift in perspective allows us to respond to life's difficulties with more clarity and less emotional turbulence. Mindfulness can also be a powerful tool for self-discovery. When you slow down and pay attention to your thoughts and feelings, you begin to understand yourself better. You start to notice patterns in your behavior, in your reactions, and in the way you see the world. This awareness allows you to make more conscious choices, to live more intentionally, and to make changes that align with your true values and desires. It's not about becoming someone else, but rather about becoming the best version of yourself. In the Buddhist tradition, mindfulness is closely tied to the practice of meditation. Meditation is a way to train the mind, to sharpen your focus, and to cultivate awareness. However, mindfulness is not limited to meditation. It's about bringing that same awareness into every aspect of your life. Whether you're eating, working, or simply walking down the street, you can practice mindfulness by paying attention to what's happening right now. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, and the more profound the changes in your life. As you integrate mindfulness into your daily life, you'll begin to notice that things start to shift. You feel less overwhelmed by the demands of life, less distracted by your thoughts, and more connected to the present moment. You begin to find peace in the ordinary, in the small, everyday moments that once seemed insignificant. Your mind becomes calmer, and your heart becomes more open. This is the power of mindfulness, the ability to transform your life by simply being present. In summary, mindfulness isn't just a practice, it's a way of living. It's about being fully aware, fully present, and fully engaged in each moment of your life. It's about noticing the beauty and the joy that already exist around you. It's about letting go of the need to control everything and simply allowing life to unfold as it is. And most importantly, it's about discovering peace within yourself, no matter what's happening around you. So, take a deep breath, slow down, and begin to notice the present moment. The journey to transformation begins with this simple practice of mindfulness, and it will lead you to a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling life. The power of right intention. In life, every action begins with a thought. Every word, every deed, every decision starts in the mind. If you want to transform yourself before the end of 2024, you must begin by understanding the power of right intention. This is one of the core teachings of Buddhism, and it is a key part of the path to true change. Right intention is the first step in the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path, which the Buddha taught as a way to live a life of peace, wisdom, and compassion. But what does right intention mean? It's not just about having a goal or a desire. It's about the purity of that goal. It's about why you want what you want. Imagine you're trying to build a beautiful house. If the foundation is cracked or weak, no matter how much effort you put into the walls or the roof, the house will never be stable. The foundation must be strong and solid. In the same way, the foundation of all your actions is your intention. If your intentions are pure, aligned with wisdom, compassion, and the well-being of others, your actions will be strong and meaningful. In Buddhism, right intention involves cultivating intentions that are rooted in kindness, love, and compassion, not in selfish desires or harmful motives. It's about asking yourself, what is my true motivation for this action? Is it driven by ego? Is it driven by the desire for wealth, fame, or status? Or is it driven by a genuine wish to benefit others and help create a better world? The Buddha taught three main qualities of right intention. Intention of renunciation. This is the intention to let go of attachment and craving. It's about choosing freedom from the constant pull of desire, choosing peace over possessions, and calm over chaos. Intention of goodwill. This is the intention to wish well for others. It's the intention to bring kindness and understanding into the world, to cultivate compassion instead of anger or resentment. It's the intention to forgive and to care. Intention of harmlessness. This is the intention to avoid causing harm, either with our actions, our words, or our thoughts. It's the intention to live in harmony with all beings, to protect and preserve the peace, and to act with mindfulness and respect. When you develop right intention, you set the course for your life in a positive direction. You start to see the world differently. Instead of acting out of greed, fear, or hatred, you begin to act out of love, understanding, and wisdom. And this shift in intention is what creates real change. Take a moment to reflect on your intentions. Why do you do the things you do? Why do you make the choices you make? Are your intentions helping you grow? Or are they keeping you stuck in old patterns? Many of us go through life without questioning the reasons behind our actions. We're on autopilot, responding to external pressures, desires, and fears without truly understanding why. But to transform yourself before the year ends, you must slow down and examine your intentions. Ask yourself, what do I really want? What am I hoping to achieve? Then why do I want it? The Buddha emphasized the importance of mindfulness in this process. By being mindful, you begin to notice the subtle thoughts and feelings that influence your decisions. You become aware of your inner motivations, and you can begin to change them. This mindfulness allows you to act with intention, not out of habit or unconscious reaction. Take, for example, the simple act of giving. When you give to others, is it because you genuinely care for their well-being? Or is it because you want to be seen as generous, or because you expect something in return? Right intention would encourage you to give from a place of pure kindness, with no expectation of recognition or reward. When your intention is pure, your actions have a deeper, more lasting impact. Another example is how we react to challenges or difficulties in life. When something goes wrong, what is your initial response? Do you react with anger, frustration, or fear? Or do you pause and choose to respond with patience, compassion, and understanding? Right intention means cultivating the ability to choose your response, rather than letting your emotions control you. It means acting with wisdom instead of reacting impulsively. Developing right intention is not always easy. It requires self-awareness, patience, and practice. It's a journey, not a destination. But with each step, you come closer to your true self. You begin to align your actions with your deepest values, and you begin to create a life that is truly meaningful. Buddhism teaches that the mind is the creator of both our happiness and our suffering. By purifying your intentions, you begin to purify your mind. As you cultivate intentions of kindness, goodwill, and harmlessness, your mind becomes calmer, more peaceful, and more content. You are no longer driven by the endless cycle of desire, fear, and attachment. Instead, you begin to act from a place of wisdom, clarity, and inner peace. One of the most important aspects of right intention is that it allows you to live authentically. Many people spend their lives trying to live up to the expectations of others or chasing after things they think will make them happy. But right intention invites you to ask, what do I truly want? What is the life I want to create? When you act with clear intention, you begin to create a life that reflects your true self. You no longer feel pressured by outside influences. Instead, you feel guided by your own inner wisdom and compassion. As you move closer to 2024, take the time to reflect on your intentions. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? If you want to transform yourself, you must begin by transforming your intentions. Your actions will follow, and with them, your life will change. In the next steps of your journey, remember that every decision you make is an opportunity to choose right intention. Whether it's a simple decision or a life-changing one, you have the power to choose your intention and align your actions with your deepest values. The more you practice right intention, the more you will begin to see the world in a new light. You will find that the path to transformation is not difficult to follow because it is already within you, waiting to be awakened. Start today. Ask yourself, what are my intentions in this moment? Are they aligned with my highest good and the good of others? The path to transformation begins with this simple but powerful question. When you choose right intention, everything else will follow. Understanding impermanence. Everything in life is in constant motion, ever-changing. The seasons change, the tides shift, and our thoughts and emotions flow like rivers. But sometimes, we hold on too tightly to things we can't control. Our desires, our expectations, and even the way we think life should be. We forget that nothing lasts forever, and it's this forgetting that often leads to frustration, suffering, and even despair. This is what the Buddha taught us, impermanence. In Buddhist teachings, impermanence is one of the most important concepts. The belief that everything is temporary can be a source of both liberation and peace. But why is it so hard for us to accept that nothing lasts forever? Why do we try to hold on to moments, people, and things that are naturally passing away? Think about a flower. When it blooms, it's beautiful, full of life. But eventually, it wilts and fades. This is the natural order of life. If we try to cling to the flower, we only bring ourselves pain, because we are resisting what is inevitable. Life is the same. The happiness, the pain, the good times, the hard times, they all pass, just like the flowers bloom. When we fully accept the impermanence of everything around us, we begin to live in a new way. We stop clinging to things. We stop trying to control every outcome. We start appreciating the present moment more deeply because we understand that it's fleeting. The happiness we feel today might not be there tomorrow, and that's okay. It makes today even more precious. The pain we feel today is also temporary, just like the happiness. By understanding impermanence, we learn to let go of the need to hold on. The simple practice to understand impermanence is to reflect on the changes you've already experienced in your own life. Think about how different you were 5 years ago, or even 1 year ago. What are some things you believed then that you no longer believe now? What things used to worry you that don't matter as much anymore? You see, time has already taught you about impermanence. By acknowledging that all things, both good and bad, are temporary, we stop fearing change. Change becomes something we embrace. When we let go of the need to control every moment, we open ourselves to new possibilities. Instead of holding tightly to how things should be, we learn to adapt and flow with life. But understanding impermanence doesn't mean we become indifferent to the things that matter to us. It doesn't mean we stop caring about our relationships, our goals, or our dreams. It simply means we learn to appreciate them in a deeper way. We begin to understand that while these things are important, they are not permanent. So, we value them more, knowing they won't last forever. A powerful way to live with the understanding of impermanence is by practicing gratitude. When you realize that your life, your friends, and your experiences are temporary, you begin to cherish them more. You spend more time appreciating the moments you have instead of taking them for granted. You become present, aware, and thankful for everything that comes your way. Think about a time when you felt truly grateful for something. a moment, an experience, a person? How did that change your perspective? When you recognize that everything is impermanent, you understand that these moments are precious. And when you live with gratitude, you attract more of these precious moments into your life. In Buddhism, one of the most important practices is mindfulness. Mindfulness is being fully aware of the present moment without judgment. It is about experiencing life as it is, without trying to change it or hold on to it. When you understand the impermanence of life, you naturally become more mindful. You stop worrying about the past or future and start living in the now. A simple mindfulness practice to help you embrace impermanence is to focus on your breath. Close your eyes for a moment and just breathe. Notice how each breath is temporary, coming and going, like the passing of a wave. This is the essence of impermanence. The breath doesn't stay. It moves in and out, just like all experiences in life. By practicing mindfulness with something as simple as your breath, you can start to embrace the flow of life itself. There's another powerful way to understand impermanence: meditation. Meditation is an ancient practice used to quiet the mind and deepen our connection to the present moment. When you meditate, you begin to observe your thoughts without judgment, seeing them come and go like clouds in the sky. Just as clouds don't stay forever, neither do your thoughts. They pass, and when you meditate regularly, you become more comfortable with this idea. You learn that the thoughts you have, whether happy, sad, or stressful, are temporary. By practicing meditation and mindfulness, you start to realize that everything in life is like those clouds. They appear, and then they disappear. By seeing things this way, you let go of attachment. You stop trying to control the future because you know it's beyond your control. You stop holding on to past mistakes or regrets because they are already gone. This understanding of impermanence is the key to inner peace. When we are attached to things, people, or experiences, we create expectations. And when those expectations aren't met, we suffer. But when we understand that everything is temporary, we no longer need to hold on to expectations. We accept things as they are, without clinging to them. One of the most freeing realizations in life is that we don't need to control everything. Life will unfold as it's meant to, and the only thing we have control over is our own response. By accepting impermanence, we free ourselves from the constant need to resist change. We become like water, flowing with the currents of life, instead of struggling against them. And while this might sound simple, it's a practice that takes time. It's not something you learn in one day, but by consistently reflecting on the impermanence of life, and by practicing mindfulness and meditation, you begin to shift your perspective. You start to see life differently. You stop holding on to the past, and you stop worrying about the future. You begin to live in the moment, appreciating everything as it is, knowing that everything, including you, is constantly changing. So, as you move through your day, remember that nothing is permanent. Whether you're experiencing joy or sorrow, both will pass. And in knowing this, you can learn to accept everything that comes your way with grace. Embrace change, embrace impermanence, and watch how your life transforms. Life is always moving, always changing, and that is its beauty. By accepting this, you too can begin to flow with life instead of fighting against it. Understanding impermanence isn't just about accepting the natural ebb and flow of life. It's also about realizing that every moment is an opportunity to live more fully. It's about learning to let go of the need to control and instead trusting the process of life itself. When you understand that everything is temporary, you no longer need to cling to the past or fear the future. You can begin to embrace the fullness of the present, and with that, you will find peace. Letting go of ego. In life, many people are driven by their ego. This inner voice that constantly tells them, you need to be seen, you need to prove your worth, you must be more than others. This ego is a powerful force that keeps us focused on ourselves and on what others think of us. It creates boundaries, walls, and illusions that prevent us from connecting with others and with the true self. But what if I told you that the greatest path to freedom lies in letting go of this very thing, the ego? The ego is like a mask we wear every day. It shapes the way we act, speak, and even think. It tells us who we should be based on what society values, what others expect, and what we believe will make us happy. We become attached to this mask, thinking that it is who we truly are. But when we believe the mask is our real face, we lose touch with the deeper part of ourselves that is whole, complete, and peaceful. Buddhism teaches us that attachment to the ego is the root of suffering. The Buddha said, "The cause of suffering is craving." We crave to be seen in a certain light, to be admired, to have status, to be accepted. This craving, this clinging to our idea of who we should be, only keeps us stuck. It builds walls around our hearts, making it difficult to experience true peace or love. Letting go of ego doesn't mean erasing your personality or your individuality. It doesn't mean you have to become a blank slate or deny your uniqueness. Instead, it means releasing the need to constantly protect yourself, to constantly prove yourself, and to live for the approval of others. It means coming to terms with the fact that you are enough just as you are, without needing to compare yourself to anyone else. Let's take a look at how the ego shows up in our lives. Often, when we face challenges or feel criticized, our first response is to defend ourselves. We may feel hurt, angry, or embarrassed, and our ego urges us to lash out or put on a front. "I'm not wrong," it says. "I have to show them that I'm better." This reaction is driven by the ego's need for control and validation. But in these moments, we can choose to take a step back and ask ourselves, do I need to react this way? Is this situation worth attaching my sense of self to? By questioning our reactions, we can begin to break free from the grip of the ego. It can be difficult to let go of the ego because we've been conditioned for so long to identify with it. From a young age, we are taught to seek approval, to win, to be the best. Society celebrates competition and comparison, making us believe that we are only valuable if we are better than others. But this mindset only leads to a constant cycle of striving, stress, and unhappiness. To free ourselves from the ego, we must learn to practice humility. Humility doesn't mean putting yourself down or diminishing your worth. It means recognizing that you are not above anyone else, and that no one is above you. Humility allows us to see ourselves as part of the larger whole of humanity, not separate from it. It allows us to accept that everyone is on their own journey, and we don't need to compete with anyone. One powerful way to start letting go of the ego is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment, without judgment or attachment. When you are mindful, you observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them. Instead of identifying with your thoughts, you simply notice them and let them pass, like clouds drifting in the sky. This practice helps you recognize when your ego is trying to control your reactions and allows you to detach from it. Another important aspect of letting go of ego is learning to forgive. The ego holds onto grudges and past hurts, believing that we must protect ourselves from further pain. But holding on to anger or resentment only harms us. Forgiveness is a way of releasing the grip the ego has on us, allowing us to move forward with peace. When we forgive others, we are not excusing their behavior. We are choosing to free ourselves from the weight of the past. We are choosing to let go of the ego's need for justice or retribution and instead embrace the healing power of compassion. In the Buddhist tradition, the practice of non-self, anatta, is central to letting go of ego. Non-self teaches that there is no permanent, unchanging self. What we think of as me is simply a collection of thoughts, experiences, and perceptions that are constantly changing. The idea of a fixed, separate identity is an illusion. When we begin to understand this truth, we can let go of the need to protect or promote a false sense of self. We can stop identifying with the stories the ego tells us about who we are, and instead, connect with the truth of who we are beyond the labels and expectations. One of the greatest benefits of letting go of ego is the freedom it brings. When you are no longer attached to the idea of yourself as a fixed, separate entity, you open up to the world in a new way. You can experience life without the constant need to prove yourself, without the fear of judgment, and without the burden of comparison. You become free to simply be, to live authentically, and to love deeply. To begin letting go of the ego, start by practicing awareness. Notice when your ego is at play. Are you seeking approval? Are you comparing yourself to others? Are you defensive or protective of your image? Once you become aware of these patterns, you can start to detach from them. Remember, The ego thrives on identification. The moment you stop identifying with it, its grip on you loosens. Another helpful practice is to cultivate compassion for yourself and others. The ego is often fueled by fear and insecurity, but compassion allows you to soften these emotions. When you practice compassion, you begin to see that everyone, just like you, is struggling with their own ego. You begin to recognize that we are all connected, and that true peace comes not from defending or proving ourselves, but from embracing our shared humanity. Letting go of the ego is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process, a journey that unfolds over time. It requires patience, awareness, and courage, but the rewards are immeasurable. By letting go of the ego, you create space for a deeper connection to yourself and to others. You free yourself from the chains of comparison, judgment, and competition. You can step into your true power, which is not rooted in status, possessions, or approval, but in the infinite wisdom and compassion that resides within you. As 2024 approaches, consider how letting go of the ego can change your life. Imagine a year where you are no longer weighed down by the need to prove yourself or be recognized. Instead, you are free to live with authenticity, compassion, and joy. This is the path to true transformation. Let go of the ego and embrace the boundless peace that awaits. Living your transformation. As we come to the end of this journey, let's pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let it settle. Feel the air filling your lungs and the peace in your heart. In these last moments of this video, I want you to realize something. You have already begun your transformation. It doesn't happen in one big, dramatic moment. It happens step by step, in the smallest actions, in the way you think, and in how you see the world. True change comes from within, and once you start that inner work, everything around you starts to change. But what does it mean to live your transformation? It means waking up each day and choosing to be present. It means understanding that the present moment is all that you truly have. All the worries, all the plans, and all the things you think are important are just distractions. The only thing that matters is now, this moment. You may have heard of the Buddhist teaching that this moment is all we have. But have you ever truly understood it? It is so easy to get caught up in the past or future. We dwell on past mistakes, regrets, and missed opportunities. Or we constantly chase after future success, always thinking that when we reach a certain goal, we'll be happy. But the truth is that happiness, peace, and freedom are found in the present. The key to transformation is living in the here and now. When you begin to live in the present, something incredible happens. You stop fighting against yourself. You stop wishing for things to be different, and instead, you accept yourself just as you are. You embrace the imperfections, the flaws, and the mistakes because they are part of your journey. Each moment is a chance to begin again. This is the beauty of the present. It offers us endless opportunities for change. Living your transformation also means letting go. Letting go of the past, of expectations, and of the need for control. In Buddhism, we speak of the practice of letting go or non-attachment. It doesn't mean you don't care about things. It means you stop holding on to them so tightly. You allow things to come and go, just as the seasons change. You cannot control everything, but you can choose how you respond to everything. And that is where your power lies. Another part of living your transformation is practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for change. When you wake up each day and express gratitude for what you have, it shifts your mindset. It opens your heart to the abundance of life. You stop focusing on what you lack and start appreciating the countless blessings already present in your life. Gratitude brings peace. It helps you see the beauty in even the smallest things, and in doing so, it connects you with the true essence of life. Generosity is another key to living your transformation. It's not just about giving money or material things, though that can be part of it. True generosity is about giving from the heart. It's about sharing your time, your love, and your compassion with others. When you give freely, you don't just help others, you help yourself. You learn that life is not about what you can accumulate, but about what you can give away. The more you give, the more you receive in return. The path of transformation also requires patience. It's easy to want change quickly, but true transformation is a slow, steady process. In the Buddhist tradition, we talk about the importance of patience. It is like planting a seed. You water it, nurture it, and wait for it to grow. You don't rush the process. You trust that, with time, the seed will sprout into something beautiful. Your transformation is like that. It may take time, but with each day, you are growing. Be patient with yourself. Trust in the process. As you live your transformation, you will find that things start to shift in ways you couldn't have imagined. The world will appear different. You'll begin to see more clearly, not just with your eyes, but with your heart. People around you will notice the change. You'll start to attract the things that align with your true self. And though challenges will still come, you'll face them with a calm, steady mind, knowing that you have everything you need within you to overcome them. At this point, I ask you to reflect on this journey. Think about how far you've come. You began by awakening to the present moment, then you let go of the past, embraced the power of mindfulness, and learned to live with compassion, generosity, and gratitude. You transformed your mind and spirit, and now you are living a life of peace and joy. But the work doesn't end here. Transformation is a lifelong practice. Each day is a new opportunity to grow, to learn, and to live more fully. And now, as you prepare to enter the new year, you have the power to carry these teachings with you, making 2024 a year of continued growth, peace, and transformation. Before we end, I'd like to remind you of something very important. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribed. So please, take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps us continue sharing this wisdom and creating content that can inspire others on their own journey of transformation. May you live your life with compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom. May you continue to awaken each day to the beauty of the present moment. May you find peace in every breath, joy in every step, and gratitude in every experience. As we close, remember, the transformation has already begun, and it continues with each moment, each choice, each action. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the first step toward your transformation. Now, go forth and live your truth.